We are live, honey bunny. Oh, sorry. Gotta fix that and do all of that because I had the superhero thing.
I'm just wondering why I'm so dark.
I mean, you can adjust that if you like. Can adjust that if you like, my dear. Kim Root, hello. How are you, my friend? Huh?
That's better.
Better? I'll move this keyboard out of the way so that way we don't have another keyboard malfunction. We had a couple of weeks ago.
What happened? Oh yeah, where you knocked the keyboard?
Yeah, I just touched it and the whole live stream went out.
Yep, that was pretty bad.
So that was bad.
It was a bad day.
Woo! What a day, what a day. That was a fun day, though.
Mm-hmm.
We'll let everybody get in. My phone's on the charger, so I can't let
And mine is in. Mine is being used. What?
Nothing.
They're still.
So, yeah, doing fantastic. Hope you guys
Hey,
are
it's
as well.
a bear.
City Girl Country Heart. Terry, can you go ahead and post in, well, April's here, never mind. April, can you go ahead and post in the Nation and everything that we're live, please, and help get it out because my phone is on the charger and Robin's is playing music so the cow will release its milk.
That
Mark!
has got to be the worst sun I've ever had.
Bow!
Because it's like my face is the shadow right here, so it's like really red right there. Right there. Oh.
And so, my beard blocks it. I don't get any right there.
Oh, you didn't have a V-neck on either, so.
I got it there. See, it's like, woo, hola.
Well, look, you can
White
see
dude.
on mine. Look.
I'm going to have to start going around in tank tops.
Just saying.
Let the guns out.
You've got a couple.
Yeah, a couple. I'll probably start wearing them tomorrow. But I just didn't think it was appropriate to wear a tank top at the thing today.
Jeremiah does all the time.
He wasn't wearing one today? That's what I said. I didn't think it was appropriate today to show up in a tank top.
I don't know. Mama Z.
Mama
What's
Z,
up,
Mama
Missy?
Z.
I look
So
like trash.
We were just in a car for an hour and a half with the windows down, jamming to Guardian and the Galaxies Volume 1, and then we ran home and you milked a cow and a half.
No, we finished milking.
Oh, so you milked both cows.
Except I had a big, huge exclamation point, which was the cow's foot right in the bucket.
Comes trouble.
Hey, can you get us some
They're
water or
working
tea?
on it.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks.
Good Lord.
Thanks.
You look red there, Robin. I am very red. Yes. I don't even know if the coloring
See,
is really
that's
great
Jesus.
Yeah, he doesn't like ugly.
here, but like,
He didn't make you.
that is your child.
Nope.
Yep.
We should have left her at Jessamiah's. Thank you, April. So we're going to give the folks a few minutes here. And hopefully some more people will come on in.
Mm-hmm. I think YouTube doesn't like us right now, so.
Oh, will you stop that? Broussard Homestead. What's going on, my brother? Hey, man, I'm sorry I missed your live on Thursday, but it was a little hectic here on Thursday, and Doc, in fact, let's see, Tuesday? Was it Tuesday? No.
Wednesday.
It was Wednesday. We went out to the car to, we were going somewhere. We had to get something. We were going to go get these rescue chickens.
Right, we're going to go rescue some chickens.
And got into the car, and it wouldn't come out of park.
It cranked. Everything was...
Just wouldn't come out
Radio
of
was
park.
running. Everything was good. Just would not come out of park.
And so we literally started trying to do... I tried rocking it back and forth, and it wouldn't come out of park.
Mm-mm.
And I'm like, huh. So Robin got on to YouTube University, and she YouTubed it, or she Googled it. And then we learned that this car, our car, has a little bit of a safety feature. It's called the brake light switch.
Well, if your brake lights don't work,
Yeah, the car's not coming out
the
of park.
car will not come out of park.
Car won't come
So
out of
if
park.
the brake lights are faulty, the car won't come out of park.
Yeah.
Now, there is a way to go
Override.
around that,
Yeah.
but
But
I
why
don't
would you do that? Why would
recommend
you do
riding without your brake lights. Like, that's not
that?
safe.
Why would you do that?
And then when we found out everything else, it really
And-
would have been unsafe.
And so we looked it up. It was a $8 part at AutoZone, and I'm like, yeah, I can do this.
Mhm.
It clips out. Boom.
You took it out to take up there just to make sure we had the
Just
right
make
part.
sure I got the right
It was
one.
real simple.
Went to AutoZone because I will no longer shop at the O'Reillys in Elberton, Georgia.
Nope,
Um,
they're not cool.
you only get one shot with me, and if you call me a liar, then I just don't ever come back.
Hey,
And-
Christy.
And
Hey, Karen.
so went, got the part, came back, was feeling good. I'm gonna fix this up. Clip, bloop, put it in. Car still won't come out of park. Oh, sweet baby Jesus. Then I honestly, I started getting nervous. And I'm like, oh, man, I hope this is not electrical.
Mm-hmm.
But I was also thinking in the back of my mind, oh, thank you, Jesus, that we were having issues with the freezer, and I talked you into letting me get an ohm meter.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, okay.
Which, for the record, you still had not opened because you fixed the freezer before you needed it. So it's still sitting in the package.
There
Which was really funny.
There was that, but we didn't have to unpack that live on YouTube. But that's okay. It's done now. And so...
Well, to the point we didn't know where it was. Well, that's just like,
I mean,
we're
we
gonna go.
don't really need to unpack that right here. We can just say thank you, Jesus. We had an ohm meter, and just leave it at that. We ain't gotta run under the bus. But I was like, okay, and I said, well, let's just start running this stuff down, because the YouTube or Google University said that it won't come out of park unless it has the pressure
Hey, Kathleen.
on it, or there was something wrong with the brake lights, because it was a safety thing. So I'm like, okay, I stepped on the brake lights coming on.
But then it also...
Can I tell my story? Brake lights coming on? No. And so I started looking at fuses, and I asked my bride, I said, which fuses are the brakes? And she's like, none. I said, that is not true. They gotta have a fuse. And she...
Oh, you're gonna do that. Oh,
And she was...
really?
And she's like...
Really?
She's like, well, I said, look, is there one for ABS?
No, you did not. I said there's none for brake lights. Like, it doesn't say anything about brake lights anywhere. I said, so I started looking at all the different ones. I said, the only thing I see is the ABS, which I know is the anti-lock braking system. I know that. So I was like, the only thing I see is the ABS. And he's like, well, that's the brakes. I'm like, I know it's the brakes, but I don't know it's the brake lights.
Okay, first of all, I didn't say it like that.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
I'm sorry. You're like, doi.
Yeah. I am purposely trying to bring back doi. I think doi died out too early in the 80s, and I want to bring it back.
Who is Ticket to Space? How you doing, brother? Just stopped by to say you saved my butt at work a couple weeks ago, and I'm super appreciative. Hope you guys are doing well. Stay safe. I don't know who that is. Brad, what's up? I don't know. Anyway, so anyway, you looked at the fuses.
Pulled that one fuse, nothing. I was like,
And there was actually two for the
there was-
ABS.
Well, no, there was actually just one. I just pulled the wrong one the first time. I wasn't going to tell you that. But
Oh, well, on the diagram thing, it said 2 of them. It had ABS in 2 different spots.
Maybe there was 2.
So anyway.
And so I was like, what in the world could it be? So I came in I walked away from it because I was getting frustrated. Walked away from it and looked. I pulled it up on YouTube. And the dude that was showing that about the brake lights, he said, look on your fuses. It'll be the one that says...
Hey, Tommy, what's up? Sorry.
It'll be, and he says, sometimes they say stop. And I gave myself a doy. I was like, doy, Jason. And so I real quick ran back out. I got the book. Because, see, here's the thing about small, compact cars. They're great for fuel efficiency. They're great little compact cars. They do great with a lot of things unless you're a big dude and you're trying to work on it.
It was like goat yoga in the car.
The fuse box was up underneath the dash in this weird position. But then the diagram for said fuse box was tucked back here in the corner on the bottom.
Right.
Of the driver's side. So, I mean, I guess I could have came into the passenger side, kind of like climbed over the gear shift a little bit.
I don't know.
And tried to read it. I'm trying to turn myself upside down. I said, honey, can you see if there's a diagram in the book? And so, luckily, there was. And so, I looked for wherever it said stop. And it said stop and hazard lights. And I went,
Wait a minute. Robin, check that.
And I reached up, and I didn't hear it. You know what the sound 4-ways make.
The
I didn't hear it. And I went,
I was like, nope, no hazards.
No hazards.
What about your blinkers?
So I tried the blinkers. No blinkers. So then I started looking at the fuse box. And this is how my brain worked.
You didn't video that? No.
This is how my brain worked. I was looking at maybe that whole row. Because all the fuses I were pulling were good. Mm-hmm. But I was thinking, oh, great. I got a malfunction on the back of the fuse box. Mm-hmm. So I literally started going up the row.
Yeah, just picking one at a time.
Just picking out the fuses, and then I came across the horn, and I reached up and I slapped, and the horn wasn't working. But all my fuses were good.
So then you went back to the owner's manual.
So I went back to the owner's manual, and then I flipped the page.
And there was another diagram.
There was another diagram for the fuses that are underneath the hood on the battery. And one of those fuses said stop, and I think it might have said hazards.
Horn or hazard.
Horn, I think it said horn.
Yeah.
And I was like, So I popped the hood, went around, that fuse was blown. It was not just a little blown.
No, it was
like mushroom cloud blown.
Almost the plastic was stained from it blowing. Dean family, what's up? Can't stay on long. Just got home. Got things to do. Woo-hoo. It was good to meet you guys too. I sent Lori a friend request. FYI.
Okay. And so I went to try to remove, because it was just a little rectangle. I was like, well, that should just pop right out. And it wouldn't move.
Nope.
Wouldn't move. And no matter how the way I looked at it, I'm like, well, I'm not going to break this thing. Come back to YouTube University and I look it up. You can't pull out those fuses. You have to replace that whole mechanism.
Battery terminal fuse assembly.
$80. No big deal, right? I mean, yeah, I don't like to spend $80, but you got to do what you got to do.
And we were pretty sure that that's what had... We were like 98% sure that that's what it was. Because it wouldn't have... Like, it wouldn't have blown the fuse in the thing. It would have just shut everything down. So
because the thing with electrical and with the fuses, the moment that first fuse
broke the connection.
It broke the connection, and so bam.
That was it.
Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, okay, baby, please look advanced.
Yep. We called a bunch of places.
And she's like, no, they don't have it. They think you got to order it from the dealership. And I said,
it's a Toyota part.
I said, call Napa. Because if anybody can get it, Napa can get it. That's always just been since I was a little kid, building
Napa
hot rods.
can.
Napa can get it. And so I stayed on the phone with the Napa guy for 15, 20 minutes, and he was like, bro,
nope.
I'm sorry.
That is
a Honda dealership part. You got to go from there. That's why it was that expensive. But
because even when I looked at, because there were other like third-party distributors you could get it from, but by the time you did the shipping and everything else, it came out to about the same.
About the same.
So I called the dealership, and they gave us a military discount, so it was like $70 with the discount. So
and
but
so
then the kicker was, when we first were going to order it, it was it was Wednesday evening. Well, then
we called him back Thursday morning. He couldn't get back in until Friday.
Right.
And so we had to jump through some hoops. My bride here, home team, got off work, talked to her boss, got off work a little early, and was able to come on home, pick up the part, and come on home. And then we
were going to put it together Friday night, but it was starting to get dark.
I needed to go get battery terminal cleaner. For some reason, I guess Blaze misplaced or something, but my battery terminal cleaning tool was gone. Couldn't find it. So I had to get a new one of those. And so we went to Advance, and then I got to looking, and because I took the old one off, and the very last one, because it goes the positive terminal here, it slides over the terminal of the battery, and then it has another screw that comes up, and it slides down on it like that
to anchor it in place.
To really what it's doing is sending power from the positive terminal, because it's all metal,
back to it.
And there was 4 wires in the back. Now I have no idea what these wires go to. None. I'm assuming one of them goes
to the horn and the brake lights.
And
but one of them, the end, because it has like an eyelet end that slides down over the stud on it, was broken off and was gone. It's like, well, maybe it's not supposed to happen. Maybe it just slides in there, because the wire was completely different than all the other ones. And so by the time we got back, because I asked the lady at AutoZone about it, and they didn't even let them have a diagram for it to be able to pull it up. And so we came back. By then it was too late. So first thing this morning, woke up, got the snake. I should go ahead and shoot it. We went out and did chores, waiting for it to get light enough.
Got it going. Sure enough, it was supposed to have an end. Once I got all the corrosion and stuff cleaned up, it was supposed to have an end on it.
But we purchased the end for it.
And I was so nervous about this. I really was. I was scared to death. And because that end was broken off, and it was still a factory end, so there was no pulling that copper off. I had to cut it and then strip the wire back. But anybody that's worked on cars at any point in time knows, when it comes to the electrical system, thank you, they don't leave you any slack. Like, in a house or something, the electrician will usually pull some down, and then he'll pull a little bit more.
Wrap it or whatever.
And he'll leave you some slack in the back of the box if he can. Or he'll leave it like right behind he'll leave a big S in there. So that way, if you do have to change it out, you want to put fresh ends on it, you have enough. To a point. I mean, you can't do it 1,000 times, but you know what I mean. Well, I had to disconnect the wire to where it snaps into the back of the thing. Anyway, basically I jumped through a bunch of hoops to bring it up, get it on, got it all back together. This one, she goes into the car, she starts it, puts it in gear.
I didn't.
No, I said,
I hit the hazards first.
She hit the hazards. we got 4-way. We got blinkers. And then I heard the car go in gear, and she went ecstatic. And she went to come out, and I'm like, put it back in gear, put it back in gear, put it back in gear. Because she was about to run me and a box of chickens that we just rescued over, because she was so excited. I mean, I was the hero, but...
No. I had it back in park. It's on a little bit of a hill, so obviously, like, kind of rocked a little bit, but you can get cut with the car wiring if you can. Oh, you get one cut with the car wiring if lucky. Exactly. Yep. And that's exactly what we ran into is we wouldn't be able to recut that if we needed to. But it was really cool because, and this is something Jason doesn't see, is that his girls, like, he can do no wrong right now. He is the hero because what we left out of the story is we had plans today. And if we didn't get the car fixed, we weren't going to be able to do those plans. Yeah. Hey, D!
So today, Jess and Maya over there at Roots and Refuge, they had
like a local kind of well, it wasn't really a seed swap, but like just a swap.
Just a swap.
For everybody to kind of get... Yeah.
And, who else was there? I met a lot of people today.
Couldn't tell you any other... I mean, I could probably tell you some names, but I don't know. I know every one of them had YouTube channels.
Yeah, they all had YouTube channels.
I was in a weird mood, y'all. I was like... It took us an hour and 40 minutes to get there. So then we get there. I was hungry when we left the house. And in my true female brain, we got about 30, 40 minutes away. And I said, hey, do you think maybe we should stop and get some chips or something before we get there? Because it's going to be a little while before we eat. Because I don't think they're having food. This one goes, I'm fine. Let's go. There's 3 other people in the car besides you, Jason.
Well, in my defense, you phrased that as a question like, are you hungry? Do you want to stop and get some chips? No, I'm good. Now, how was I supposed to?
So I'm going to do you like you do me. 17 years, Jason. 17 years. So anyway, we get there.
No.
It was hot. Oh, and here's the other part of the story. So I had a little bit of a bag of chips, of Doritos in my purse. But I knew that if I pulled those Doritos out, that I would have 3 people wanting to try and eat that little bit of Doritos. So I left them in my bag.
Well, then that's your own
fault.
fault.
Anyway, then we got there, and it was a beautiful day. There was clouds out, but I guarantee you, in that entire time we were there, not one cloud jumped in front of the sun. Not one. So
yes, the cookies.
Yeah, the cookies were good, but here's the problem. Robin is hypoglycemic, so if Robin eats too many cookies, that's a problem too. So anyway, we visited, and it was really hot.
I'm gonna call you out. I know for a fact that if you would have said something to Jess, I'm starving. I think my blood sugar's getting out of whack. She'd have fed you.
Of course I would have.
So then, yeah.
But there was an entire group of people there. I wasn't gonna be like, hey, I need you to feed me. And by the way, we were supposed to leave at 4. And so at about 3:50, I said, hey, you about ready to go? And I hear nothing from my husband.
Okay. Pump the brakes. Pump the brakes. I told you when you asked me earlier, did you get your phone? Yeah, but it's had to shut down because I didn't pull it out of the car and it got overheated.
Yeah, fair enough. So
you knew my phone wasn't working.
Then I sent my daughters up to the house because they wanted to go riding on the 4-wheeler or on the side-by-side. And I said, yes, you can. Ride up to the front and go see what's going on with Dad. He may not have gotten my message because our service is kind of wonky out there anyway. So I was like, well, maybe he just didn't get the message. It's fine. Go on up there and go check and see what he's doing, see what's going on. So apparently they go in and tell you, hey, Mom's ready to go.
The only person that came in was Dessa, and Dessa said, Mom's trying to send you messages. She whispered in my ear because Jess was beside me. She said, Mom's trying to send you messages. And so that's when I flipped my phone over and turned it on.
Uh-huh.
And I got, are you ready to go? And I'm like, no.
So then
Okay, that you phrased a question.
they come down to me and they're like, Dad's not ready to go. And I said, does Dad realize that we have almost 2-hour drive and that we still have to milk a cow? I don't know. Go back up there and ask him. So they went back up.
Yeah, Carol never came in. I never, and Chris is my witness.
So they came back and said something to you. They did. Somebody did.
I think Dessa came back in and she said, Mom is ready to go. You need to come. And that's when because it was Chris, myself, and then there was another homesteaders. They were from Lincolnton, North Carolina.
Okay.
And we were talking trapping. We were talking predator control. And I said, okay, well, let me finish this. And then that's shortly after that, I was still explaining to
now,
this
keep in
guy.
mind, this has been almost an hour-long process, okay?
It was a southern goodbye.
And what happens? Jess comes in.
Jess said, you like being married? Because if you do, you better go because I think your wife has got your daughter's about to have a coronary out there because your wife is ready to go. And so that was it. And then we got a car and came home.
Yeah. It was, the problem was that I was getting overheated. I knew I was getting dehydrated. I was trying to because Jason stays home with the girls all day. So he needs to be able to adult. And not just adult, but adult with other men too. Because
it's been a year and a half since I saw Chris.
Right. So and that was one of the things, Ladessa was like, Mom, you didn't really hang out with Dad much today. I was like, I know. And she goes, why not? I was like, because he needed that time to visit with his guy friends. I said, and here's the thing. When I'm not standing beside him and he tells a story, then I can't interrupt him. So he loves that. So I just leave him alone. That was my thing. Like, just let him do his thing, because I noticed when we went to go do the thing for the podcast, like I was like, I need to just go off and do my own thing because Jason wants to be able to tell his story. So, that was.
I did get nervous one time. Because
this is like going to someone's marriage counseling. They're serving popcorn and red vines. Kathleen, screaming me up.
We were standing outside the greenhouse, and it was myself, Chris, Dominique's husband. I did not get that man's name. I talked to him all day and never got his name.
Yeah, I have no idea what his name is.
Man, that's pathetic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I talked to that man all day.
And he had a name tag on. I don't remember reading it.
I didn't see the name tag.
Yeah, he had one on, but I don't remember it. Anyway,
was talking to that guy.
Uh-huh.
And then they made mention that there was baby chicks down there.
Yes.
And I saw you down there, and I went, oh, baby Jesus, please. You don't have any more room for any more chickens.
No, and those were more like, the,
Like it matters.
Like, to purchase, and I wasn't really in a position where I wanted to purchase anything. We have plenty. I don't need to purchase any at the moment. Now, if somebody had been giving them to me, that would have been different.
Yeah, we would have came home with another 30 chicks that we rescued.
Here we go. Dominique. Her name is Dom.
Send her a friend request. But anyway, we met a lot of great people. Forged some beginnings of some relationships, some friendships, I think, some really good ones, and some networking and stuff like that. So I really enjoyed myself. I got to see Maya, I got to see Chris, I got to see Jess. I got to see a lot of people. You know, all the kids are growing like weeds.
And there were a lot of like new faces that we'd never, we hadn't really met before, and so that was cool too.
Yeah. I got to meet the deans.
Which was very cool.
Finally, face to face.
I got a lot of really great information off of it. She and I are very similar. Like, we can be extroverted, but there are times when you just want to just shut down and, like, not. And so we just kind of just nodded together, like, because she was getting frustrated because her husband was still filming, and she was ready. She was at a point where she was ready to go. She was done peopling, and I was just my problem is the entire time I was hot. I felt like I couldn't get enough to drink, and I was starting to get hungry again. I was on the second wave of being hungry again, and so I was just kind of like,
that's your fault. You could have said something to Jess, and she would have told you.
I was just kind of.
Oh
No. Even Matthew even offered to give me. He's like, I've got crackers in my car. I'm like, it's fine. We're gonna be leaving soon. We'll get food on the way home. It'll be okay. Like, my blood sugar wasn't bad at that point. It was just starting to get there. Well, and so...
you throw the 17 years back at me, but, really that is your fault. Because you would think after 17 years, you would learn, I don't read between the lines.
Oh, I know.
I don't catch hints.
Cinder block over the head.
Well, you're talking about then why do you set me up to fail?
Because I keep thinking you're going to change. I just keep hoping. But anyway, so...
You know what they say the definition of insanity is, right?
Oh, yeah. Trust me, I'm
married
to it.
Same thing,
married to it every day. But yeah, so we had a great time. I was just kind of in one of those, like, when you get uncomfortable, you just don't...
You don't like being around a lot of people all at once, especially if you don't know them.
If I don't know them. Like, guys, I didn't know anybody. The only people I knew there were Jess, Maya, and Chris. That's it. I knew nobody else. Jason had at least talked to, like, the Deans. He's talked to them on... Facebook. Yeah, see, I was a witness. But, like, he was there. I didn't know him. I knew of Jesse, but I didn't even know what Jesse looked like. Like, I didn't know anybody there. And then I got my feelings hurt really bad. Because I was like, okay, my kids are safe. I'll just go see what my kids are doing. And so they were all hanging out at Jess's magnificent tree. I walked down there because I'm like, it's shaded. It's cool over there because it's close to the pond. I'll be able to cool off a little bit. So I go walk over there. I sit down, and no sooner do I sit down, Carol pops up. And then Ladessa's sitting there, and there was a couple other kids. There's about 4 or 5 other kids out there. No, it was probably more than that. But anyway, there was quite a few. And I sat there for like a minute, and the next thing I knew, like, every child, they were all gone. And I was there by myself. I'm like, not even my own kids want to hang out with me right now.
No, that's not what you said. You came back up and you found... I can't remember who I was speaking with. It may have been the Deans that I was sitting there talking to. And you came up, well, I've reached the age where my kids...
I think it was Dom. Dom was there. I think she was there. I don't remember who else.
I finally reached the age where my kids don't even want to hang out with me. It's not cool to be around the mom. That's what got your feelings hurt. But you had a good time. You got to sit down and chat with Jess, and you got to meet the one lady down there over the tunnel. You were talking with her for a while.
That's Lori. That's Matthew's wife. Dean.
I thought I was talking about that. Oh, were they right there at the end?
Oh, you're talking about when I went to go look at the chicks.
Yeah.
That was the Carmichaels.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Carmichael Farm. They have a hatchery.
Ooh.
And it's not like, like something like McMurray where they have like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of breeds. Like, they have like 12 or 15 or whatever she was telling me. It's just a select few. And they're mostly like what I would call, like, in the stone world, we'd call it exotic. So I guess in the bird world, it's probably the same, close to that. It's more exotic animals.
Stone? Oh, you're talking about stone.
Like, when I do stone, like the higher end stuff that's more... Terry, give me just a second and I'll tell you where...
So, while she's looking that up, the title of our live stream tonight was Let's Talk About Plastics. We've given way more than enough time for folks to get in here. And
they're in York, South Carolina, just south of the North Carolina border.
So I'm going to jump up on a soapbox for a second. For just 1 second. Well, it's probably, as much as I like to talk, it's probably going to be a little bit more than a second. But then I want to go from the soapbox this rant and then try to twist it around to a positive thing. This last week on Facebook, a friend of ours, close friend of ours, was sharing some things how they were outside the box thinking planting their garden this year. Now, their ground is unsafe to plant in due to the fact of the hurricane. Was that 2 years ago?
2 years ago now.
2 years ago. And they literally had like cars and antifreeze and stuff that was coming down through their front yard. So right now, for the next couple of years, it's going to be unsafe
to plant directly
into the soil.
Mm-hmm.
So they were showing the different things. They were using different bags as grow bags. They were using kiddie pools, and we all learned from Jess about kiddie pools and being able to grow in kiddie pools, thinking outside the box that way.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they got hammered. I mean,
by one person mostly.
Right, but really kind of by two. But then they were just really kind of beating them up, almost like they were trying to be an elitist. Like, how dare you grow in a bag that has plastic in it or something like that.
I believe the word was, I guess I'm more practical.
Okay.
Excuse me?
Anyway, doesn't verbatim, didn't. But anyway, I think, personally, I feel like there's no doubt, there's no denying that the world is addicted to plastics. You can't walk through your house and you'll be able to find 1,000 things without even trying hard that has plastic on it or in it or whatever, or it's just 100% plastic.
I live on a dang farm and I still grow on grow bags.
And yes, plastic is a problem. Yes, we need to do more to reduce our dependency, our usage of plastics. I'll be the first guy to stand in line as an advanced open water scuba diver, a guy that loves to go into the ocean when he gets a chance. I'll be the one firsthand tell you it's disgusting to see the level of plastics and stuff that's in our oceans. Okay? I'm not denying it. But when you have somebody, whether they're recycling these bags, repurposing these bags, or whether or not they went out and bought these bags specifically just to grow in, that is a dozen of those bags that won't be used once or twice and then thrown in the trash. These bags will be used year after year after year. And they're also the type of people that once they can't put dirt in them anymore, they would use them as a weed barrier or as a ground cover and put the dirt on top of them to plant. The kiddie pools. I mean, let's be honest. If we're using it just as a kiddie pool,
how long do those
things last? You're lucky to get a whole season out of them because the kids come running and they try to jump over them, and the toddler don't have any hops yet, so he falls in it and it ends up getting cracked. The dog jumps in it, ends up getting punctured in a hole, and then it gets tossed off to the side into the trash, ends up in a landfill, or ends up into the ocean. People that are using it as a grow bed are going to be using it season after season after season after. I mean, you'll get 10. I think ours has 5 years on it, 6 years on it,
at least, and it has a crack in it. But we're using it to right now anyway. I'm using it as my hospital for my plants.
So never in a million years would I thought I ever would have seen somebody going after another person like that for thinking outside the box.
Well, the thing that really irritated me is like what Karen said, is better to grow something in a plastic container than to starve.
Yeah. And which got me really thinking about repurposing and reusing plastics. Mm-hmm. And I got to thinking about some of the stuff that we have done that we as a community could do to try to, even if it's just 1 2-liter bottle. to remove it from possibly going into a landfill or going into an ocean.
Hey, Cheryl.
Those self-watering containers that we showed you guys how to make a couple years back with the 2-liter bottles.
Yeah.
Robin grew an entire salad garden in her kindergarten class with recycled 2-liter bottles. So, and they were, I mean, she did phenomenal with them. That one thing of lettuce was huge.
We had lettuce, tomatoes, peppers. Like, we did. Yeah, you could grow a giant tomato in one. Yeah, and but even like we have milk crates that we somehow ended up with a bunch of milk crates. We lined them with some liner.
Mama Z, when she used to live in the apartment, she had grow bags and she used everything. If it could hold dirt, that woman put dirt in it and put some seeds in it.
Yep.
And she had a phenomenal garden living in an apartment.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's true too. Kiddie pools are way cheaper than the other containers out there.
Mm-hmm.
You know. I'm gonna use the containers, kitty litter containers, for watering my raised bed with corn this summer. Yeah.
Yep. You can take a 2-liter bottle. You can punch holes in it, plant it down into your thing, cut the bottom off where it will fold down inside of it, fill that up with water, and it's a self-watering for a pot or a 5-gallon bucket.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things out there that we can do to keep the plastics out of the oceans and out of the landfills. The one thing that we shouldn't do ever is belittle somebody for doing that.
Absolutely. I mean, I agree with that. Christy just asked, I've got a bunch of milk crates. What did you line yours with? Just landscape fabric.
Yeah, we lined it with landscape fabric.
And the cheaper landscape fabric, not the plastic stuff. The one that, because we had bought some that was not like, it's the one that has like the cloth bottom.
The felt, yeah.
The felt bottom. So that one was not super tough for our, like what we were growing in. But it's perfect for that because you can fold it up and just kind of put it in there and then fill your dirt. And the water will still go through.
Yeah, you won't have any root rot or anything like that. And we put radishes.
Yeah, radishes. Yeah.
Radishes in the little milk crates. Dessa planted them the other day. Burlap is another good thing that you can line it with too. Yep. And so.
Hey, Woody. Cardboard. You can do cardboard.
Mm-hmm. You know, the milk crates can also be used as nesting boxes. In fact, Justin Rhodes, his plans for the chickshaw
call for that.
Call for 2 egg crates for the nesting boxes.
For the nesting boxes.
There's so many things out there that we fill milk jugs, freeze them, and then chill. Yeah, you know that's.
Wait, what? We fill milk jugs.
Yeah, like if you have that's awesome. Instead of going to buy ice.
Oh, and then refreeze them. Yeah, so that you can keep them cold, right?
When we were doing Norwegian rabbits, what are they? What?
No, I don't even. Oh God, what kind of rabbits are they?
The big white ones.
I can't even think.
But we used to freeze
the Florida ones, the New Zealand. New Zealanders.
Whatever.
You've been on Norway for like the whole day.
I want to go. We used to freeze the water in the 2-liter containers and then put it in the rabbit hutches. That way they could have something in the hot Georgia summers to lean up against and help keep themselves cool. You know, there's people that have taken like bleach bottles, soap, laundry soap containers, and cut them, washed them up, and used them as scoops.
Yeah, now that's not something I would plant in because of the the plastic leaching, but you could certainly use them for scoops for, feed and things like that.
I don't necessarily know if I would use the bleach or the soap one for feed, but I would use it to scoop the kitty litter,
When you're doing something quick like that, I don't think that's as big of a deal, especially if you're rinsing it out and stuff. But if you leave it in there with the feed, yeah, that could be a problem. Yeah. 5-gallon buckets can be used for nesting boxes too. Yes. Mm-hmm. I started with cardboard boxes on a folding table on my front porch. Made a low tunnel of pool noodles and painter's plastic to keep them warm and the slugs out. So,
oh, that's awesome.
That's a really good idea. And I know a lot of people that'll grow in cardboard boxes, and then just as they get wet.
Mark down there at Self-Sufficient Me, he put out a video that he grew some potatoes. Mm-hmm. He recycled a cardboard box and grew the potatoes inside the box.
Yes.
I honestly didn't think he was going to get anything out of it. Mm-hmm. And my surprise, he did. He didn't get, it wasn't a huge harvest now, but it was decent. And basically all he done then was because the box was just saturated and just literally
starting to fall apart.
He just grabbed it, pulled up the cardboard, put it off to the side, and
he put it in his compost.
Got his potatoes out and then scooped everything up, put it in the compost. Mm-hmm. Or just really, I think he even took cardboard and all, and I think he just filled a raised bed with it, to be honest. Mm-hmm. So those are all kinds of things that you can do. We gotta.
Well, and the other thing too is that now, not in that situation, but like in Terry's situation, she's renting. She doesn't own her property. So she can't be digging and building a bunch of stuff.
Right.
Even if she had permission to dig and build stuff, she's exerting energy and work into an area that's not hers at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. So it just makes more sense for her to do something that's not so permanent, so that she could pick that up and take it with her too. Yeah. And that was the other thing, and she didn't really go into it. And I really wish she would have. However, I understand engaging trolls is not always a great thing. But one of the other reasons why this person put all of her stuff in bags and buckets is because they live in Hurricane Central. And all of that stuff is portable. So she can pick those bags up and load them in the back of her truck and move them to safety.
Yep.
Where some people would just have to,
all over.
It's gone.
Yeah.
But she's able to pick those bags up, load them up, and take them wherever she needs to go. Mm-hmm. So I don't care what you think about plastic. That to me is genius. As long as you're doing your research and making sure that it's not something that's going to leach into your food, which another thing she did not include, the bags that started the whole thing were completely food safe. So she was fully, and I know she does her research, but she's the kind of person that she knows what she's doing is right, so she's not going to defend herself because she doesn't need to. And I agree with that. But there were times when I wanted to be like, here's the link, check out the bags. They're recycled, they were made out of recycled plastic, and they're food safe. So what more do you want? What, because it's a garbage bag or a food bag, not a $55 planter that you have to buy at Walmart? I mean, what?
The funny thing is we all know, most of us has been around the block certain times. They'll take, your generic cereals, for example, right? The Fruity Rings and the Fruit Loops, they come from the same factory. They just, at one point, it goes this way to become Fruit Loops, and then this way to become Fruity Rings. And then the Fruity Rings are sold as the generic at a cheaper price versus the name brand of the Fruit Loops, which is sold at the more expensive price. So, whether or not something is a bag or a tote, food grade safe so you can carry your groceries in it, or a garden grow bag, $3, $50.
Exactly.
It's the same stinking bag. They just put a different title on it.
Dee said they fill juice jugs with grits, poke holes, and tie under the boathouse to bait crappie. That's a cool idea.
That's
I think Terry's doing an awesome job for a little space she has. Yeah, she does. Cheryl said when renting for years, we grew in pots. Had a great garden with loads of food one year.
Yeah.
Being able to move them is a plus. Yep. Donna has IKEA bags. I put 12 in my cart, but it's $8 shipping. But I think it's so worth it. I mean, if you're going to continue to use them, then yeah. You know. I have a video coming out in a couple of days about that. I explain why I use them in containers. Domino's sugar and Walmart sugar are the same company. Yep.
Mm-hmm. and so you got to do a little bit of your research. I mean, and I'm not knocking the people that buy the $50 grow bag. Just like I'm not knocking a person that buys the $3 bag or the IKEA bag or 98-cent bag, Teresa's saying, and grows their food in there. I'm not knocking it.
Because at the end of the day, you're growing food.
You're growing food.
And you're taking pressure off of an already broken system.
You just stole my line.
I'm sorry.
Because, well, they're doing more than that. They're taking a product that eventually would have been thrown in the trash. Mm-hmm. They're taking this product. They're producing. They're not consuming with it. They're producing with it, which is relieving pressure from our broken food system, this whole supply chain rigmarole that people got going on. Mm-hmm. And they're keeping it out of the oceans and out of the landfills. Mm-hmm. Versus this person that came in with the trolls that came in with their eliteness and was trying to kick her under the bus for not using a grow bag.
Well, no, she went even one further and was like, well, 20 years ago, I got out there with a pickaxe and I
don't want to go all super negative about everything that they say.
At the end of the day, it doesn't hurt to put yourself in somebody else's shoes instead of looking at everything from your own perspective. That's all I was going to
When we end our live stream, we end it with the same thing all the time. Love one another. Be kind to one another because you don't know what the other person is going through. Mm-hmm. And I just think we shared this story and we wanted to talk about the plastic things because plastics do need to be talked about. The world is addicted to plastics and we need to think outside the box to be able to do our part, what we can do to remove our dependency on those plastics, or at least to keep the plastics out of the oceans and out of the landfills. Because at the end of the day, God gave us a job. We're to be husbands of this planet. We're supposed to be the caretakers of this big blue ball that he put us in charge of. Mm-hmm. And we have to take care of it, and we're not. And so, talking about subjects like this, not to just try to come to somebody's defense and then kick the troll under the bus or anything like that. That's not what we're doing. One, we wanted to encourage you guys to think outside the box. Use these materials that you can use. You have to do your homework to make sure that the plastic that you're going to use is food safe if you're going to grow in it or anything like that, i.e. 2-liter bottles from Coca-Cola or the containers that other food comes in.
Coffee cans. Plastic coffee cans. We use those all the time. Scoops, compost.
Use it. Hold the tent stakes to help that you need to be able to put the electric netting down and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. We wanted to talk about this again to just kind of encourage you guys to let you know that there's more people out there that would support that. Don't listen to those trolls. Don't listen to the naysayers, and do what you got to do. Because I mean, right now, with the way inflation is going, to be able to get what are those the pots, the ones that people even try to turn into heaters. They're pottery pots.
Terracotta.
The terracotta pots. Those are getting crazy expensive.
Yeah.
And when you start trying to talk about you're in an apartment or your ground has been polluted not by something that you done, you can't. Normal people can't really go out and afford to go plant their entire garden in those expensive pots, or the other ones that are at Walmart. And hello, some of those pots that are pretty, like I got 2 30-gallon ones out there. Guess what? They're plastic. So,
Brenda said, I've planted in the reusable Walmart bags and put them in a kiddie pool and put rocks around the bags in the pool and then put water in it, and the bags wicked it up for the plants. That's a good idea too. Because those reusable ones, they're made out of that, whatever it is. It's not plastic. It's like a...
Well, I know. Didn't Carol at one time have a pair of jeans that was made
from plastic bottles. Replastic. Yeah.
Plastic bottles. So use whatever you can as long as it's food safe.
Well, hell... Excuse me, Cheryl up here said that she knows people say not to grow in car tires, but they're fine. My in-laws do it, and they were doctors of biochemistry and environmental toxicologists, and they say that it's fine.
I like to use the car tires for the flowers because I'm still weary of that. I saw one guy that said he would grow his potatoes in there, because then the potatoes would grow in the center around the tire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But we've also used them as composters for vermicomposting.
We built a pig hutch.
We built a pig hutch out of tires, and that was a good pig hutch.
We're not new to the whole, like, when we say recycle, reuse, repurpose, we live that. Like, we're not just saying that because it's a catchphrase.
That was our first pig hutch. Our neighbor had tires.
Mm-hmm.
In all honesty, I got the idea because I watched a documentary about earth ships.
Earth ships, that's exactly right. Yep.
And I absolutely fell in the idea, the love of the idea of the earth ship.
Uh-huh.
And I've been on Robin for pretty much 13 years. Let's build an earth ship. She don't let me do it.
But our neighbor had a real big problem with tires. Like, there were tires thrown all over his property. Yeah. And so Jason and Blaze went in there and pulled a bunch of tires.
We probably used 200-300 tires.
And they filled every single one of them.
Yeah, Blaze did.
Yep.
And we did like they said. We packed it in there and packed it in there. If I had access to a couple of teenage boys to be able to pack the dirt in there, because I'm not packing it. I just don't. I don't have the time or the energy to do it. I'm 10 years older than what I was when we did it the first time. Mm-hmm. And the tires, to be able to get them, I would build pig hutches for First Oink out of those tires, because they could then get on those tires and they could rub on it.
Rub on it. It doesn't
get their
move.
Scratch, and it is not moving. And because now, I mean, there are times.
I would be curious I wonder if there's a way for us to go back down there and see if it's still standing.
No, when we were moving out, he came over with his tractor, and remember?
Did he really?
Yeah, he tried to throw him over there on Jeremy's property.
What a dingleberry.
Yeah. So.
Sorry. The general thing to remember about car tires is if they leach into the ground from laying on the ground, they couldn't get 50 miles down the road without disintegrating. I watched a long series on Earth ships probably 10 years ago on YouTube. I thought they were awesome. Not sure how they would do in our region, though.
Yeah, I think there's a couple out here.
I know there's a dome out here.
Yeah, that was another one of the houses when I got on that. There's a funny thing that sometimes when you get on a rabbit hole especially when you start heading down this lifestyle, whether you come from the preparedness world or you come from wanting to just get off the broken food system world, you end up going down rabbit holes to where you're looking at recycling and repurposing and reusing, and you find earth ships, and then you find geodesic domes, and I was this close.
Until you said that you wanted to put cupolas on 2 of them and make them look like boobies, then that was it. I was done.
That was my gift to the guys in the space station.
No. Oh my gosh, my skin is so warm from the summer. Oh.
It was a joke, honey.
I know. It wouldn't have been a joke if I'd agreed to it. You'd have been like, all right.
That'd have been funny.
Teenage boy would come out in you again. You'd be like, ah.
That'd have been funny.
Be like, hey, pull up Google Earth and look at my house.
They have geodesic dome.
So where do you live? Here, look up this address.
Take that, Hugh Hefner. But they even have them that you can turn them, have them built as a greenhouse.
Oh.
And that was one of the things that I wanted to also have one off to the side that was like a greenhouse. And then if money was no object, we would have two geodesic domes.
With cupolas on top.
And then I would have 2 more where I'd have one as the greenhouse, and then one I would have a saltwater pool in it. And then I could also, that's where I could grow a lot of my tropicals and citrus stuff. And
grow some citrus trees in there.
And then I would have the pool where it was one of those where it pushes a current through it, so you really don't you can swim in it. It's really only about A long, but you can swim in it. You know, that way I could do water exercises that way with it. And because I really missed that at the VA. I'm really upset that they shut that down because that was very helpful for me.
Brenda said she's grown in tractor tires, but I won't anymore because we had to move one, and when we emptied it, we found over 100 snake eggs in it. Nope. Done. That would be a good reason not to.
There were some times that I get nervous when the girls come back. Oh, we found where the chickens were laying, and the eggs look off to me. I mean, why don't you just give those to the pigs? No, they're still warm. Give those to the pigs. But why? It just that could be a snake egg. You know, just like these red air sliders, they're starting to come up in here, and then up by the house.
Yawning, Robin.
And they're starting to lay up there. And when Dessa sees that, it's don't go over there. Saw a turtle over there. She might be laying eggs.
Leave that door open. It is hot as
Woo!
Satan.
Someone
in
almost
here.
just said a bad word.
Thank you, Pumpkin.
Well, maybe not a good idea to open the door and leave it.
See, you just gotta let her work it out sometimes all by herself. She just gotta get there.
I'm burning up.
Open
so
up the
hot.
window with the screen.
Close the door.
Oh man.
But it's getting to be that time of year. Garden tour videos will be starting up pretty soon. We're gonna be getting.
We're super excited about that.
Shh. I did a thing.
Yes, she is, Terry. She told me she was looking at it the other day. Sleep time for me. Good night, Cheryl. Get some rest.
That was a cool thing, though.
What?
What I do.
Oh, yeah. Well, and when you sent me the picture, you were like, I hope this works. And I'm like, what is that? And then the next thing I got was the video of after. I was like, oh, okay. How deep does that go?
I had to put cinder blocks on it to make it go a little bit deep. It probably went...
6 inches, maybe?
6 inches, maybe, yeah. Deep enough. deep enough.
So yeah.
So I'll probably put the Dessa's corn starts out there probably Monday. Start on that one side and put them out there.
Put them out there.
Yeah. Wood chips. A wood chipper is something that's very...
How much did you pay for the plant starts? We hadn't totaled it up yet.
We haven't totaled it up yet.
So, Ladessa learned a hard lesson in hardening off plants. We had the area where we put the chicks last year, we had filled up with dirt, and we were going to use it to starts in. And it has not been very successful. I'm not sure why. Probably the water, I don't know. But for whatever reason, what she was doing was putting her plants on top of that soil, and then she had her lights set up and everything was growing beautifully. When the chicks came here, we evicted Ladessa's plants and put the chicks in there, and so Ladessa started taking her plants outside and she didn't bring them back in, and they got sun scorched.
But all she has to do is prune the leaves that got changed different colors. They got a little scorched. The plant will be fine. To quote Mr. Miyagi, if plant got strong root, it will grow.
Anyway, so she is doubling down and growing more like squash and things like that. And I told her not to worry too much because, I mean, she sold quite a few plants already and made money before we even were involved. So she's still working on it and doing all of that. She just hasn't sold us any yet. However, that corn, I mean, are you going to pay her for the corn?
Frog butt water tank?
So, she, well, the problem with, okay, so you guys are all like, oh, prune it, baby the plants, blah, blah, blah. My point is that the area that she had them in where she could really love on them is no longer available because the chicks are in there. So,
but those plants have been hardened off enough now. She can send them back outside. They'll be fine. There's...
You willing to put money on it?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
What
Do you have any pepper plants? I think she may have a few, but I don't know how many she's got. So we're just going to have to, like you said, we'll just have to baby them and do what we do. And
plants, believe it or not, all plants are pretty resilient. I mean, you can't really...
Well, I mean, those plants
that
we get from the feed and seed that are root bound, we even rehabilitate those. So, yeah. I mean, it just takes a little bit of...
Yeah, she's just going to have to give them a little bit of TLC, make sure she waters them good, give them some compost tea.
That was the big thing. Like, that's one of the things that I think that she is missing, is that I think she used a different soil this second time around, and I don't think it has much, if not any, nutrients. So I think if she were to just water them with some compost tea or maybe some of that potassium water, that they would probably bounce back pretty quickly. So, but I mean, we filled up a full kiddie pool full of rehab plants, my plant hospital, and I put 2 buckets full of weeds.
I have good news.
What?
I have good news.
What?
We got the notification. Friday was hospital visit.
Okay.
And we got
Good night, Kathleen.
The notification that we will soon be able to return to the hospitals to do face-to-face visits.
You need to be immunized?
No. they haven't come out with the rules yet. But
Because that's good news, but not necessarily good news.
we'll see. I knew that the moment that they had a vaccine coming out for me to be able to go back to the hospital to visit the kids, I was going to have to get vaccinated. So I have to make the decision of getting vaccinated or not helping make a sick child smile. And
What cost?
I am 47 years old. I am 3 years away from being a certified card-carrying member of AARP.
Oh, so you can say something like that, but I can't.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I'm older than you. You still got a ways to go before you can be AARP.
How's the young lady so far?
We haven't. They went silent, so unfortunately, we don't know. That's one of the things that I was trying to convey in the private message with you. I just don't know. We were talking about doing the auction, and then from them with them and silence. So I don't know exactly
Oh, baby goat's being born now. That's exciting.
what's going on. So I was hoping to see her yesterday, but it didn't happen. We had issues trying to get online yesterday. But for those of you that are new, what I'm referring to is on the last Friday of every month, we dress up like superheroes and we go visit the children with cancer at in Augusta. And before pre-COVID, there was a good solid group of us that were going all the time. And if there was a superhero movie coming out and the kid was good to go and was able to go, we would go to the movie premiere. We would sit out front, joke, kid with everybody. And then on rare opportunities, it didn't happen a lot, but it did happen a couple of times. The child that either just got out of the hospital or, through Make-A-Wish or whatever, we would sit down with them in uniform, outfit, whatever, cosplay, whatever you want to call it, and watch the movie with them and have popcorn with them and Cokes and just have a really good time. And then, of course, there would be lots of pictures being taken and everything and blah, blah, blah. But but now after COVID, we've been completely having to do it via Zoom. And it was still fun to put smiles on faces.
But it's just different.
It's just different.
Yeah.
My feelings, the worst my feelings ever got hurt in my entire life. My entire life. Like, hurt so bad, I was ashamed of myself because I was like, I want to punch this kid. We went into her kid's room. And we're all in there and we're joking and we're kidding around and we're dancing. She looks at me dead in the Wolverine eyeballs and she's like, "You're too fat to be Wolverine." And I almost cried.
Well, the thing though is that the suits are made to look like larger than life. So it's not like you were bursting at the seams in this costume. Like, the costume itself was big. But I thought it was funny that she was like...
I mean, all y'all laughed at me. I mean, you trying to come to my rescue now, but you were like... Well, I was just sitting there. I was joking, carrying on. And she's like, "You awful fat to be Wolverine." And that was mean. And then I started trying to lose weight. Kids are truthful, though. Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited, super excited about that, being able to possibly be able to do that again. And
kids will say anything. Yes, they will.
Yes, they will. Well, guys, as you've seen, Robin has been yawning off the chain for the last
I'm exhausted.
5 minutes. We still got to eat dinner, and or we still got to probably make it, then eat it, and so we're gonna go ahead and call it a night. We've been almost on
A little over an hour.
a little over it. What do you mean? This is 54 minutes.
9:20. Remember it restarted.
Oh, it did that skippy thing.
Yeah.
We gotta figure out what's going on with that. So, you guys, stay busy. Don't listen to naysayers. If all you can plant in is a Walmart bag or a grocery bag, then plant in it. Plant in it. Plant in 5-gallon buckets. Plant in kiddie pools.
You know, something Terry, before you wind everything up, Terry said something that I didn't even think about because we don't use them anymore. But feed bags.
Yep.
She's like, I grow in my feed bags. I use the feed, and then I take the feed bag and I turn it into a grow bag. I mean, like, how
Yeah, that's pretty brilliant.
much better does it
We
get
used
than
it.
that?
We used to when we were buying food in feed bags. We used them to insulate
Yeah.
a chicken coop or a turkey coop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was very, very good.
So anyway.
Always thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
So that's an older video too. So you guys, be kind to one another, love on one another, especially now when things are so kind of all over the place, and food chain issues, supply chain issues, processing plants burning to the ground, all these kinds of things. The people are stressed to the max already. Don't add to it. Just love on one another. Be kind to one another. And we'll get through this together as a community. We'll get through this and come out on the other side smelling like roses. So, from me and Robin, we want to remind you guys to plant smiles
Grow giggles.
and harvest the love, baby. Yeah.
You didn't get a chance to see me do that last week, did you?
No,
it was pretty
I
funny.
turned you off too. God, this lady is boring. Let me turn her off. So, guys, and we... Ow. Stop it. Let's see, you made me forget. So, now with it becoming spring, summertime, guys, we may be busy. If we are not going to be live, we will put out a message, but there will be a video coming out instead of the live stream. So, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful week. Go plant something, and we will see you
soon.
guys next time. Good night, everybody.
Good night, guys.
God bless. Yes, another lovable, exciting live stream from the Big Bear Homestead. For those of you that don't know, this is your lovely FBI agent, Special Agent Magoo. I just wanted to tell you guys how much that Robin and Jason really appreciate you guys coming tonight and hanging out with them. Remember, keep up the good fight. Plant something, grow something.